Hello, Redditors. Hello, Challenge fans. Welcome back to another episode of the Challenge Redditors React Podcast. Last night, we were given the joy of watching episode 2 of the Challenge Spies, Lies, and Allies, and there is a lot to unpick. I'm Levi Hall. I'm your host, and I can't do this on my own. No, I need my partner in crime. I need my other member of the agency. It's only George. George, how are you doing?
Can we just refer to ourselves as power couple, please? And I also can't wait till you get bored and start introducing me as your spy, your liar, or your ally instead.
Well, you know, it's going to have to change every week. It's going to have to change every week. You had a good week?
I have actually. My brother's birthday is on Boxing Day, so he has a
Ed from the Challenge Fresh Eyes.
Sorry, we use his full name. The wonderful Ed. No, the great Ed from the Challenge.
He's not wonderful after what happened on that phone call.
Yeah, true, actually. He's sorry about that, by the way. But we went, had a really good day, went wakeboarding in the morning. I managed to bruise my testicle. That hurt a lot. Basically did a jump, got very arrogant.
Don't need to know.
It's all healed now. I resemble slightly less of a Smurf than I did before. But then felt a little bit, then we obviously went pub, drinks, felt a little bit worse for Sunday, and work's just been trying to kill me all week, to be honest, buddy. I've had no fun since Monday, so I'm very happy with the challenge out.
It's funny that you mentioned Monday, because Monday was the day that we put out our special bonus episode of the podcast with the wonderful Devon Simone. That's still up on our feed. We sat down with Devon. We talked about everything from her start in MTV on The Real World, dating. George became a Challenge cast member for a little bit. Shock horror. We got George drunk on a podcast with someone called Devon. And we talked with Devon all about the Challenge aftermath for Spies, Lies, and Allies. As I said, that is available not just on our podcast feed, but also up on our YouTube. It's well worth a listen or a watch. And we do have to say a big thank you, because we've had a lot of listeners and a lot of watchers this week. So thank you so much to everyone just for supporting the podcast. George, it's that time again. It's the weekly banter segment. What you got for me?
Well, glossing over my bruised testicles.
Please, can we just gloss over that forever?
Mate, as I mentioned, apart from a very, very good weekend, not masses to report. There's been some very, very good Reddit activity, which has kind of helped assuage a bit of the lack of banter, but I'll save that for Redditor's Corner.
Why don't we go straight into Redditor's Corner?
Or there's a moment, I might have found us a couple of new listeners.
Hello.
Sorry, new watchers to the challenge, which obviously means they will become listeners, because why wouldn't you? But I found out that
brand new fresh eyes.
One of my very good friends watches Are You the One, and is about to start the season with a certain Mr. Devon #1 draft pick Walker. That's his full formal title.
Friend of the pod, Mr. Devon #1 draft pick Walker.
Good Lord. I hope we have to, we have to mention him loads this season. We're going to have to extend our running time. So yes, I've directed them to a challenge. I'm so committed that they have my Amazon login so that they can do that. I'm very trusting. Shit, my credit card details are on there. And I'm hopefully still just slowly but surely expanding our small UK network of challenge watchers. So when we do riot, if Devon doesn't get the reunion, we can
we got an uprising. We'll have an uprising.
All right, Katniss. You don't watch the games, do you? That majority makes
no
sense.
I saw one of them, and it was the one where there were no games and no one was particularly hungry, so I was like massively disappointed by the whole thing. I think it was one of the Mockingjays ones.
Yeah, they're not great, to be fair, though. Too. But anyway, how has your week been, anybody? Anything entertaining? Any new viewers?
Well, as we are fully aware, this week I partook in the first Levi challenge, which you can see on our Instagram feed. It's on one of the Instagram posts. I documented the whole thing, made a video, realized you didn't want to see me walk up a flight of stairs 20 times, so I did a bit of time lapsing as well. So yes, I succeeded, George. Mission complete.
I was really impressed, actually. You didn't look too knackered. That is a lot of elevation. It's the entire point of that is like, it is much harder than flat running. And I thought, because you've kind of said you've taken a bit of a break from cardio, I thought you performed really, really well. I have to do something meaner to you next time.
Stop it. You're making me blush. But the big question...
Make you sweat in a minute.
Well, that is the big question. What have you got in store for me this week for the Levi Challenge?
So last week was cardio.
Yes.
This week we're going to move on to a bit of a strength challenge.
Oh no, I have not.
Have you ever heard of the Sally challenge?
Of course I haven't.
Okay, so are you aware of a song called Sally by Moby?
I'm not, and please don't play it for copyright reasons.
Oh yeah, fair enough. Basically, it's a pick Sally up, a pick Sally down. It goes on like that for about 3 minutes, 14 seconds, but with varying breaks between the up and down. What you have to do is get in a press up position. And then when they say up, you go up. And then when they say down, you go down, and you have to hold it until the next up or down. Now, I've tried this before and it's really, really hard. So
you think I can do it?
Well, to be fair, no. But the point of this is I'm going to use it throughout the season to check your strength and see if you're getting better. So
so this will crop up a few times. This
will crop up as an extra bit in some challenge. It might be an extra Levi challenge.
So it's all right for me to fail this. You just need to know at what point I fail.
I need to know how far you get through on attempt 1, and then I want you to do an attempt 2 and see if you get any further if you're doing any strength training at the moment. But just the main one is to 1, complete the challenge because it's funny. 2, sorry, not complete, attempt the challenge because it's funny. And 2, tell me how long you get through. And you have to film it with the camera right here so we can see the pain in your eyes.
Perfect. Although one thing I am questioning is how I'm going to be able to put the song on the video without a copyright breach.
You have to sing it.
Oh no!
You have to learn it and sing it.
I'm sure I can find like a Pan Pipes version or like a non-copyright version, like the ones they play in Superdrug.
That'll work. Let's do that.
Which for our American listeners is like a place like Walgreens. It's not like where you buy drugs. It's a chemist, basically, but a big one. Okay, interesting. I am starting my strength training again this week. This is not a sponsor, and it's going to sound like one because I'm just really excited about it. But I was in one of my YouTube black holes where I just watch loads of stuff on YouTube and just click related stuff. And there's these guys that I watch called the Goal Guys, and there's this guy from the Goal Guys who I've seen him get fat and thin about 60 times because he just keeps doing different challenges. And this one, he started working on an app. Not working on an app, working with an app, which gives you like a virtual personal trainer, but the virtual personal trainer is a real person. So they're a personal trainer and you like check in with them in Zoom stuff and they write you programs and you kind of film your form. And then if you're getting it wrong, they'll film the form for you and things like that. So I thought, okay, I'll try this out. And since I don't want people to think it's a sponsor, I'm not even going to say the name of the app. But yeah, so I've taken the 14-day trial. So I did a Zoom thing with my personal trainer this week. And yeah, he's written me a program. So it's starting with just 2 strength sessions a week. But what I said to him is, because obviously I do cardio and I do my spin classes, but I want to be accountable for them. Because at the moment I'm not doing them because I just can't be bothered because no one's checking up on me.
Sure.
So what he said is he's now putting the spin classes in the program so he can see if I've done them or not.
Nice. Good thinking.
So yeah, so I'm hoping this works and I go not just back to Nam, but to an all new, unbelievable version of Nam.
Wow.
Well, I was about to say Nelson because he looks absolutely shredded at the moment. That's eventually the dream. It'll take a while, but who knows? But yes, so this Levi challenge is Sally style, up and down, 3 minutes and 14 seconds, press ups. At what point do I die? Thank you, George. You're a cock. On to your next part of the introduction. Redditor's Corner. What you got for me this week?
So we actually forgot a component of this last week, which was the massive poll. And so to treat everyone, I've got 2 massive polls for you this week, and then we'll do a bit of the highlights of Redditor's Corner. So I asked this before.
I'm surprised you managed to get a massive poll out this week with your bruised testicle.
Well, you said we can't talk about that anymore, mate. Really,
I know. I just had to throw that one in there, didn't I?
So much pain. So I did. What are your expectations for Spies, Lies, Allies, Spies, Surprise, and Tries before the season started? Yes, first water spit of the season.
Were they obvious answers, or were there any surprises?
No, I actually generally was quite.
I was more proud of that, and you just didn't hear it.
Sorry, that was good.
I'm going to cry now.
I was nice. So I was generally keen to see what like Reddit's pulse check of this was. So we had 1,266 answers, just or 12,000 would be huge. We had 46 say potential to be the best season yet. 173 say could be a top 5 season. I voted for that. 660 cautiously optimistic. Wish 6 more had voted for that. 290 but not good, but not going to be a classic. 71 looks awful. Miserable bastards. I hope you're eating your words now. And 26, I'd rather watch Big Brother. So overall, majority is positive. I think if I'd done that after episode 1, it would scale more towards the top 2 because the opening was so strong. And I also think this was a very strong episode, but we'll get to that later. Did you vote on this? Did you have an opinion before the season started?
Honest answer? No, I don't like to influence.
Fair enough. Don't even have a phone, if I remember from episode 12 podcast last season.
Mate, I've not even got a computer.
Glossing over that. And then the second poll was I was rewatching Vendettas, and as Derek comes in as a mercenary, Nelson says, "You're so lucky, Derek, that I'm not down there against you tonight." And I forgot because they had that little spat on Dirty 30.
Yeah.
So it was a challenge. What if? Who would have won between Nelson and Derek? And I was really surprised by this. 1,066 votes, 827 for Derek, 239 for Nelson. I thought it'd be significantly closer than that because I think Nelson would have beaten him.
I don't. I actually think Nelson's not that good in eliminations.
Okay.
And I think as much as I find Derek really annoying and very tooting his own horn, I do think that he is very good at eliminations and he's very scrappy. So yeah, I'm not as surprised as you are, George. But the Redditors have spoken, and that is what Reddit is for, continuing that conversation. What's the best thing you've seen on Reddit this week? Just the one thing, I think.
Someone found Kenny's Bumble.
Oh, was it next to Zach's?
Nice. No, but there is a shot of Bananas, Evan, and Kenny all with surfboards in there. Some of the comments on it are hilarious. Like, these photos are way too professional. Everyone's going to think he's a catfish. Good Lord, he's easy on the eyes, but what an arsehole, which I quite enjoyed as well. And just he's a good-looking guy, but I just found it quite weird that he was on Bumble, and he clearly is one of those guys who just cycles through women. There is
like sponsored Reebok athlete as well.
Yeah, there's a couple of him doing a triathlon actually. That's a very good point. A couple of other good shout outs. Alan Maguire's done his recent post. Brilliant Aguirre about Ed Eason being the new hunter. I will not spoil it for you because it's beautifully written and you should go read it. This one I will spoil because it made me snort with laughter. Describing the people going into elimination. Emmy reminds me of a girl who won't stop tapping the aquarium glass in Finding Nemo, which is really, really funny.
You know, what's really awkward. I'm trying to laugh, but I've never seen Finding Nemo.
But we need to talk about your movie watching.
I was looking for it the other day on Disney Plus. I just couldn't find it. But
no, good work. You only like Paramount, but
well, on that note, George is going to continue trailing through the Reddit this week for more Redditor's Corner. He's going to heal his testicle and stick up another massive poll. But George, this is the place for the Redditors to react. And as we've said, this season, we're not just going to be reacting on our own. We're going to have some Redditors join us. So from Reddit, we've got, hey, it's Tay12, but we're just going to call her Tay. Tay, how are you doing? Good to have you back.
Doing all right. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, not bad. This is the first time you met George. Tay George.
I'm very
officially.
Lovely to meet you, Tay. That 5-minute conversation we just had where we really got to know each other obviously doesn't count because it's not being recorded.
Classic breaking of the fourth wall. How's Prada doing?
Prada's doing fine. Prada is taking a nap right now, much needed. She's had a great morning. So ready to start talking, and she won't be bothering us today.
we're on consecutive podcasts with dogs as guests, aren't we, though? Because we met Devon's Brooklyn last week. We got Tay and Prada this week. Who we get next week?
If we can't get anyone, Georgie, you need to get a dog, basically.
Fine. That's the excuse I've needed for years.
So or that wasn't a hard sell.
Yeah. Or just dress Ed up. I think that would be even more entertaining.
The context, Tay, Ed is my brother and does not like fancy dress. I do though.
But we're not here to talk about Ed as much as I'm sure he'd like us to. We are here to talk about the challenge, because last week Corey L and Michelle won their elimination against fellow survivor Michaela and Renan. This led to some new teams and partnerships being formed. So Michelle chose #1 draft pick Devon Walker. Corey L chose Tori. That left Ed and Emmy together. Ed came in to replace the sadly no longer competing Nam. Let's just have a moment of silence for Nam. There's the moment. It's a podcast. It sounds weird. And that left Kelz with the enviable partnership of Tracy. Now, I know that's a lot to digest. So let's see what went down when they got back to the house. Do you know what? I wasn't sure about Ed last week when he came in without his shorts on. But now that I know that he's from an Ivy League engineering background, and actually he seems really fun, I think he's going to be a nice addition to the show.
He'd actually make a fantastic dog. He'd be brilliant at that job. I think someone posted a really good video of him on the Reddit this week, just of him being a bit silly. And firstly, I'm already in love with the Goofy Idiot. He's a talented version of Goofy Joss.
Have you guys seen his Netflix show that he's from, The Circle?
Yeah, so I saw it, but I don't actually remember him from it.
So he was on the first season and he was later into the game, so he didn't really count. I think he was maybe on like the last 2 or 3 episodes, but he actually brought his mother on The Circle with him. I like him much better now than I did on The Circle, personally, because like, I don't know, I thought it was a little weird that you brought your mom. But he does seem fun, and he actually went to Cornell. That is the Ivy League school that he went to. So nothing to that.
Just to give us an idea for George and I, what do we mean by Ivy League? Is that like the equivalent of what we would call like a red brick university? It's like not Oxford and Cambridge, so not Harvard and Yale, but it's the next ones down?
No, it's Cornell would be up there with Harvard, and it's one of the ones that are not talked about, but I believe there are 9 Ivy Leagues. 9, somewhere between 5 and 9. I did not go to one, but it would be like Harvard, Yale, UPenn, Cornell, Princeton. There might be 1 or 2 more. Like Stanford would be more so red brick, because Stanford would be like the Ivy League of the West Coast.
Because I'm interested in him now that I know about like his intelligence as well as his banter. Although I still stand firm when I say he looks like the love child of Bananas and Paulie.
That's a good description.
He's a lot bigger than that though as well. Like he's Alan Aguirre, which I will now finally pronounce correctly, describes him as like a smart version of Hunter, and that's actually what I think he's more like. He is short, but he's a lot more stacked than I thought he was when he first came in. So I think he's going to be someone no one is going to want to go up against. I'd love to go for a night out with him. He seems fun, but or take him for a walk like a dog he is. But I think he's going to be dangerous.
He has Bananas energy, but in a likable sense.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. He's really keen on it, isn't he? He's really keen on being there. That's what I like. I like the people that, I think we always say this, George, the people that enjoy being there, don't take themselves too seriously, and just go there and play, essentially.
Yeah.
Again, it's the weekly cough. It's not COVID. Tested myself yesterday. But you know what you can't do if you got COVID? You cannot have fun and dance at the house. So none of these guys have got COVID and none of these girls have got COVID. But what they have got, well, what Emmanuel's got is the moves. That was some quality dancing by Emmanuel. And you know who liked it other than me? Michelle from Survivor. What's going to happen there?
You know what? I have to get on MTV a little bit for that, because I feel like they're by trying to give us like plot lines with like these romances, they're slowly, like they're kind of spoiling it for us in a sense. Like like last week, they barely even looked in each other's direction, and we were already getting the seeds planted for this being like a showmance. It kind of gave me a little bit of insight as to what was going to happen in that elimination, because you wouldn't plant that seed if Michelle's going home that week. I think this is something that's going to like stir for a few more episodes, just because we haven't seen them really interact that much on camera.
You're really thinking about that from the kind of edgic way of thinking, which I know Jake Ricci does over on the subreddit, thinking about the way that it's edited and what's going to happen moving forward. George, are you looking forward to seeing the inevitable Emmanuel and Michelle breaking Levi's heart because Michelle is so beautiful?
I think Manuel's the one who's going to get targeted next week, in all honesty, or maybe within the next 2 episodes. But as a challenger, I know all the jokes about him were like he's a budget version of Jordan. I think he's kind of his own character at the moment. He seems he's got absolute wheels when they're doing the running bit of the challenge. We'll get to that later. Sorry, Levi, constantly George jumping ahead.
Ticked off on the bingo card.
I think same with Ed. He brings a very, very different energy. There's a bit of like him interacting with other castmates later on in a funny bit here. He's comforting later on. I think he's a really, really good addition. And I'm really, really sorry about the fact that he broke your heart though, Levi.
Well, it is what it is. And, there is a lot of comforting going on in this episode because Kelz is comforting Tori in the bedroom. What do we think about this? Tori needs to be careful. She doesn't want to get too distracted and put a target on herself because Kelz is a strong rookie. I think you literally just need to look at how jacked and stacked he is to know that, he's there to play the game. And as we know, he's a smart guy from his educational background. Is Tori in dangerous waters here?
I wouldn't say dangerous. I think Tori's probably popular enough on the main cast. Like, we know Devon and her are now really, really close. Obviously, she's got the Anissa connection. By proxy through Devon, she's got Kyle. Fessy and her probably don't have any bad blood between them. I think it was quite a mutual thing. So I think she's strong enough in the veteran lines. And also she's a good competitor. So like when the vets go at each other, they're going to want to keep Tori as a potential partner. So I think she can do what she wants. Plus, Kelz is gorgeous. Make hay while the sun shines.
What I will say, Tay, is at least Tori's only going for one person because Nelson, he's cuddling with Berna and then he gets up, says goodnight to her, and gets in Ashley's bed, and Ashley's got the feelings.
Listen, you guys love Nelson. I am getting to the point to where I don't hate him.
Interesting scale, that.
He, like, with that situation, like, this is one of those situations where it's like, you kind of sort of have a point, but let's not, like, you have to move carefully about this sort of thing. Like, why would, like, this is the part of Nelson where I'm like, you're being an idiot.
I'm not sure he thinks before he does things.
I don't think he can.
We saw what happened when he thinks. And Levi, we've had a conversation about that. Like, when he thinks, he like throws himself into elimination for a friend that has like 3 residual MTV checks for his friend's family. But like,
and also the kids that he threw himself into elimination so that Corey could win the money for also have residual MTV checks.
Yeah, everybody has a residual MTV check but Nelson. But yeah, he made the sacrifice, but it got like 1 heart's over. So like, I guess that was a great move, not strategically, but like in the long run. Like, we've seen Ashley, who has had a great rebrand from, Smashly to Millionaire Mitchell, but why would you do this?
Not to jump ahead, there's someone who rebrands her very, very well later on in this episode.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said about how long a rebrand can last before you realize it's the same product that you bought in the first place. And I'll tell you what, her best friend Amanda knows this because she tells us as viewers that Nelson needs to be careful not to mess with Ashley, or she is going to make his life a living hell. And, we then move to the rookies, and we've got Michelle apologizing to Tracy for stealing Devon. Tracy doesn't really know what's going on. So, that was an easy apology. I don't think Tracy's known what's been going on since she moved into the challenge house.
No. It's good to see her getting some camera time, though, because she was pretty non-existent in the last episode, except for literally when Devon got stolen. It was like, oh, who is this person? But she seems nice enough.
She just seems nice. That's it. She's just nice.
Yeah.
Nice, kind of pretty girl, a lot of makeup on, just there, just filling up the numbers, making sure there's enough people on the cast that they have, picking up one of the cheap checks. Just that's why Tracy's there.
They all can't be winners.
And Tracy probably won't be, let's be honest.
She's lovely window dressing. But everyone on the Reddit seems to be like, I liked her. She seems sweet, but we've not had any opportunity to see much about her, to be fair, have we?
Do you know what she is? She's just inoffensive. She's just there. She's like one of the plants by the pool. She's just there, just not even growing. She's just there. But if you want to think about a rookie who isn't just there, he is there to win. That's Kelz, and he's there in the gym with Tori. And Nelly T comes in. They have a little bit of banter about Smash and Smashly. And Kelz does a confessional basically saying that if the rookies stick together, they can outnumber the vets. And I think one of the things that Alan said last week is that's the obvious, but the problem is you've got a load of vets that can shoot a glance at each other across the room and then know exactly who they're voting in. Whereas these rookies, they're all trying to outplay the vets, but at the same time outplay each other to make everyone think that they know how to play the game. And whilst they've got the numbers, they don't have the understanding of how to form an alliance. Am I right there, or am I just thinking a bit too much about this?
I agree. I think this is like the wrong format logistically to start a rookie revolution like part 2, just because there are so many different barriers as to why this would not work. Like Alan pointed out, like last week, there are people who haven't even seen this show, which infuriates me because, like if you're going to go on the show, like do your homework. There are people who haven't seen the show. There are people who, like their English might not be the best. Like their way of playing the game or lack thereof is going to be different. And they honestly just did not have enough time to really get together and figure this out. Like this should have been something that, even with the way that they were split up in the house, like most of the rookies are international, but there are a few that are American. The way that this was split up was that you don't even really get to interact with all the rookies on night 1. You interact with most of them, but then you have the outliers like Tommy and Michelle and Michaela and like Corey L. Like there are a few other rookies on the American side who might have already, gotten in good with the challenge vets.
If only area codes weren't so complicated, they would have been able to start a rookies WhatsApp group during the COVID second quarantine, like the vets all managed to do. George, do you think this kind of rookies let's stick together thing is ever going to work with this lot?
Not in this format. I think the fact that you can send different people down to elimination is where that breaks. So like you could easily just do rookie every time, and you just pick the right pair to go down. I think Michaela and Kelz could have probably pulled it together if there wasn't. I think that break has slightly annoyed me because I want to see what the season would have been like without the vets having time to coordinate. I still don't think it would have led to a rookie revolution, but I would have liked to see how it would have happened untainted, because I think you've got some strong enough rookies who could have banded. Like no one is going to want to go against Kelz in elimination. I think he had about 230 kilos on that barbell and was doing squats to that. Like that is
a lot of weight.
It was
I know how it
huge.
feels.
I saw it.
It was like you at your maximum weight, Levi.
Oh, ow! You're a bastard. You're an absolute bastard.
You keep getting me drunk when we interview people. But yeah, I think there's too many weak rookies who want to do the come back every week kind of thing. Is like, if I stick around long enough, I'll get a mainstay job on the challenge. Whereas it seems there's at least 3 or 4 figureheads in the rookies who could have led it, but they're hamstrung by format and their supporting cast, basically.
And I think the problem is every time like the figurehead of the rookies starts an uprising, the vets see it and they just shut it down because they've got so many vets spying at each side. Spies, lies, and allies. So it started with Michaela. She was the first uprising, gone. And then now Kelz is trying it, and the vets are in the bedroom trying to sort out who they're going for that week. Josh straight away. Kelz is uprising. Kelz is the one that we're going for.
The funny thing is, I think you guys are giving Kelz a lot of credit because outside of that one confessional, I didn't really hear him say anything about, let's make a plan. He literally just said if they, rise together, we would be fine. But as far as seeing any like strategy or anything, he didn't really make a strategy. Whereas like Michaela, had the list. I almost wonder if they kind of just threw that in to give Josh some type of justification, because like as we see later, like that kind of had no legs.
From what I heard, so Ashley, Amanda, and Michelle did an Instagram live this week, and from what I've heard, when they were in the COVID quarantine, they all got their phones back, and apparently Kelz just went on like a full-on background check mission of all of the vets. So he spent like most of that 10-day quarantine literally just finding out everything he could about all the vets and all their history and the things that they'd done, so that he was ready for it when he came back to spread amongst the rookies. But obviously they didn't show that because they don't want us to know that there was a load of COVID cases, even though all the cast are now going on Instagram lives talking about it.
I've got a lot of time for that. I do think, actually, we'll discuss that properly later. I think Kelz just stands out as someone you would target as well, though. Like, no one's want to go touch him. But there's a better point to bring that up really later on.
I think
I'm trying to control myself. I'm trying to be a considerate podcaster for you.
Oh, you're such a good boy, George. One thing I do want to talk about, because one thing that I do like in the challenge is the representation of different people and different people's cultures and things like that. So I want to talk about the conversation that Fessy and Esther had. So it was mainly kind of geared towards the fact that Esther's worried about the challenge. George, admit Fessy seemed like a good partner in this conversation.
Yeah, I've had this thought. I've not done a 180 on it. I think I'm very, very susceptible to how people are displayed by an edit. Because last season, we all know how I felt about him. This season, he seems humble.
So far.
The Ramadan thing's impressive.
That's what I wanted to touch on, yeah.
He's been a good partner. Maybe the end of Double H Agents Final and how I'm convinced he reads comments in Reddit and in Insta. I don't think he likes how he's being thought of, and he's trying actively to bring public opinion back to his side. But as well, he's coming across quite nicely so far.
Well, there's a moment at the end of this conversation when Esther says, I'm going to go have some breakfast. Do you want to come? And Fessy says, I can't. I'm fasting because of Ramadan. I think it's really good that they're bringing like different cultures and different religions and things to people's attention, and allowing, there's something to be said. I know, we're all against influencers and the influencer culture, but there's something to be said about, people like Fessy who have an impact on, the kind of younger generation, being able to explain what Ramadan is and why they do it, and things like that. And actually, I would have liked if MTV had allowed him to, or kind of not edited out him talking about it more and talking about the reasons and things like that.
I know they mentioned it a little bit in the pre-episode. That was when it was first brought up. I think that it is like, I like the representation, especially as someone who like is a minority and has been watching the challenge for like years, when it was not so like it was not the best.
Not as well represented.
Being really infuriated by some of the things that happened in the house and by how they were, portrayed. Like the obvious one is like the Camilla situation, but even like little things from calling Cheyenne the wrong name, like I related to that a lot. I think it's great. The jury for me on Fessy is like still out, because I do think that he, read the comments. He doesn't want to be like portrayed that way, but he also lost like in what he would probably call an embarrassing loss he clearly doesn't have a leg to stand on right now. Like he knew that going into the house. And then on the other side, I think to Tasha's credit, not Tasha, Esther, love them both. I think he absolutely knows not to try anything with Esther, at least not this early. So I'm interested to see if he does like get switched out, how he will act towards some of the other female partners that he has.
Yeah, really. Sorry, the only reason I giggled there, all your points are brilliant, was because he said he doesn't have a leg to stand on. I was like, like his partner in the final. But no, I really agree.
Yeah, as you say, it is nice to see that representation of minorities, but also just educating people on, Muslims fast. This is why they fast. It's difficult. But also, I think the interesting thing as well is for people to realize when Muslims fast during Ramadan, as well as, doing the prayers and doing what they do for their religion, they also have to get on with their lives and do the job that they're paid to do and things like that. And, seeing him still do these challenges whilst not eating and not drinking, I'm just glad we're being shown it and it's not being glossed over. So well done MTV for that, because I think, we give them a bit of stick for stuff, but we also have to give them credit when credit's due.
Yeah, I actually wasn't aware about like not being able to drink water or anything. I was like, wow, like this is really gonna play a factor, because this is summertime.
Yeah, in Croatia.
Not the dead summer, but like summer going into fall, depending on time period in the area. But like I commend him for that for sure, because I would definitely be taking the season off.
He's not taking the season off. He's ready to do more challenges, as are the rest of the cast. So at this point, the agents head to the mission to join TJ. So let's head there ourselves and find out exactly what that mission will be. So mission heli heist. So 2 teams are going to play at a time. One partner drops gems from the helicopter to their partner in the moving vehicle, who has to catch it. And then when they get to the end, they sprint to the finish line. The team that catches the most and has it in their satchel wins. Pretty simple concept, George.
Why do they have to sprint to the finish line?
I didn't really understand that. Maybe so they didn't get set on fire by the explosion, which for the first few I thought was put in post-production.
Yeah, I think it was every time, isn't it, though? That pyrotechnic guy of a challenge is really owning his cash.
I thought that you had to get past the explosion in order for your gems to be counted at first. Because if you look at the first one, they didn't even show like it was Tori and Coriel, Jeremiah and Tasha. I thought like, oh, Coriel didn't make it past the flame, so therefore his didn't count.
But then they did.
But I'm not sure.
Well, I thought at the beginning when they were paired up that it was because Jeremiah started talking about, oh, you're not going to beat me in a sprint race because I was a track runner. I thought it was whoever got to the line, who didn't get to the line first, theirs wouldn't count at all, but apparently it wasn't.
That would have been a good way to change the mission. Also, he is rapid.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he absolutely...
Yeah, they do look quite strong. Also, got to say, I wish I looked that cool doing the world's dumbest handshake.
I also
they just
quite like
ooze being cool.
You do too, buddy.
I don't think I do.
From an audio perspective.
Yeah, from when you... And maybe I should stop the video podcast.
No, I like it because the fact I wriggle so much makes it really annoying for you, and I like seeing how irritating you get with me. I enjoyed Corey and Toriel's little mistake when they were introducing each other.
Which you just made.
Oh, crap, I did, yeah. I completely see his point, to be fair, then.
I don't see why he wouldn't have just said Tori and Coriel instead of saying Coriel and Tori. That would have, like, prevented the mistake. But that's just like...
Does anyone else think he's trying a little bit too hard to get a callback?
Not really.
I don't know. I just felt like that was a bit fake, that Tori and Coriel thing.
I think that they probably have similar energy because Tori kind of acts like that a little bit in her confessionals. Maybe he's just bouncing off of her because he seemed okay in the first episode.
Can I ask people if they think Bettina's laugh is real?
I heard heard it wasn't.
I
heard it. I think I saw on Reddit or something like that it wasn't. But the way that she couldn't turn it off kind of has me convinced that it might be.
So I think one of our guests has got a thing which is like she started doing that once, realized it got a good reaction like way back in life, and that then has evolved into her laugh, and she now can't go back to normal. I think that's potentially
that makes sense, you know. So can I say, George knows this. So I watched the episode twice. I watch it once for me to enjoy it as a challenge fan, and then I watch it once on 2x speed so that I can do the running order for the podcast. Bettina's laugh on 2x speed is the greatest thing I've ever heard.
That's actually brilliant.
If she never does anything on the challenge and her legacy is that laugh, it's a legacy worth having, in my opinion.
Do you know what it slightly sounds like? It's like the Sand People from A New Hope in Star Wars when they're celebrating.
You know what I'm going to say to that, don't you, George? I've never seen Star Wars.
Do you only watch the challenge? Oh, yeah, right. Okay, fair enough. I am. Yeah, outnumbered here. Carry on. Please watch Star Wars. At least watch The Mandalorian. It's awesome.
I've seen like opening episodes of like my brother's like Disney-esque episodes of Star Wars, but other than that, yeah.
On a side note, by the way, for this Star Wars podcast, what did everyone think of this challenge mission?
I think it looked expensive.
Yeah.
And I wonder if they got any sponsorship or paid promotion from Range Rover, because they could have caught those gems in any car with a sunroof.
Yeah, very true. I liked Huey's reaction. Oh my god, this looks so much fun.
Oh, this looks so much fun. Shut up, Huey. Classic Ashley. I was upset we didn't.
Classic Ashley.
I was upset we didn't see more Ashley. They were quite. We saw them a bit. We saw Ashley separately, but we were muted on the Ashley partnership.
They're keeping the powder dry on them.
I completely agree with Tay on this. It was so style over substance. Like visually, it looked incredible. As a competition, I was just like, okay, so they're playing catch.
I didn't mind it because my problem with it as well was like some teams in the middle were so disadvantaged when the sun came out. But you did get to see some people actually demonstrate like really good hand-eye coordination. I was really impressed by Esther. I thought she was awesome. Like actually, like her accuracy is insane. Oh, good dream beer pong partner. But there are a few things I like people. Like I liked seeing who's rapid as well. That was quite cool. So Emmanuel and Jeremiah starts me there. It will never go down as a daily I will remember for ages. But I like the little things that I was able to tweak out about the competitors.
I think it showed like who works well who can already like kind of work well as a team. And like for me, I was more so paying attention to, who could possibly be a threat, just like communication and like coordination wise. Like Jeremiah and Tasha did well. Like, of course, we know like Esther did well. Like Tori did not do so well to me. Like she seemed to not have a like strategy whatsoever with how she was throwing the gems. She was just kind of like chucking them really quickly. It's like give them a chance to catch them.
Yeah.
And I think, like I was more so paying attention to not necessarily who came in first, but like who did really well for like their showing, like their second challenge. I think it was a good starter challenge.
And from a purely health and safety aspect, those poor drivers, because the windscreens kept getting smashed.
Not smashed, right? I would have noticed that. Did you get hit by the? Oh, actually,
if you rewatch it, there's cracks in the windscreen.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shit.
I mean, you're dropping sandbags on a car windscreen from 30 feet up, which is quite high. And not everyone likes heights. especially not Emmy, who ironically was calmed down by Big T, who didn't like heights last season. So she's passed on the mantle. Emmy had an absolute meltdown. What do you think, Tay? We've seen cracks in Emmy. I thought she was quite confident.
You guys like Emmy. I don't like Emmy.
Why?
One, because I think, to your point about the rookie revolution, it might have had some legs, but she completely killed it.
Yeah.
Single-handedly. And I looked at the after show, so I know it wasn't for no reason, but it was like, you buckled like a seatbelt, like
I love that.
Quickly. And then for her to be so, confident and so, aggressive about it, in my opinion, to turn around in this episode, I'm afraid of heights. I'm not going to give you a hard time about being afraid of heights. That is perfectly fine. You are well within your right. They were literally hanging outside of the helicopter. But the meltdown afterwards is where I was like, okay, I'm rolling my eyes at you now.
Did you not think it was genuine?
I'm sure it was genuine. I don't know if I would like it if it was genuine or if it wasn't. If it wasn't, I would be like, you're dramatic and you need to get it together. We don't need another Josh. And if it was genuine, it was like, well, you can't be like this aggressive about one thing in one day and then turn around and like completely cry unprompted about your performance when nobody said anything. It was funny, I'll give her that. But like
that'll get old very, very quickly. Also, yeah, it annoyed me. And also, she's currently filming a diving reality show in Romania. I think it was really put on.
You know, they did that show over here years and years ago. Splash.
No.
So I watched movies. Towie was on it.
No, and the furthest away I can keep from the only way is Essex, the better.
But yeah, no, they had a couple of series. It was all like based around after Tom Daley won the bronze medal. Was it 2016 Olympics? So they thought they'd jump on diving as a reality show concept and then realized, it's just people jumping in a pool.
Love to be a fly on the wall for that pitch meeting. That would be that's so stupid. Another reason why I liked Emmanuel, he went straight over to calm her down and like look after her. It was nice. Everyone did seem quite lovely to her. I think overall this cast seems quite nice, and I'm enjoying that because it's getting away from a bit of toxicity. But yeah.
Are you saying, George, that there's less tension with this cast? Because you know where there is tension, sexual tension. There's some sexual tension between Ashley and Nelson because she's there shouting, "That's my man," and he comes off that challenge and he gives a lovely little cuddle to Bertha. Oh, so he's cuddling with Bertha and he's gonna light a fire in that relationship with Ashley. What do we think about what Nelson's doing? He is literally playing with fire. And he's going to get Bernard.
Can I just say that I love how you guys call hugs cuddles? It just makes it seem much messier, and I love it, especially in this context. But again, Nelson's an idiot. Well, he definitely has a type, like maybe not physically, but I think he has a personality type. And Bertha hasn't showed it yet, but something tells me that her and Ashley are very, very similar. Bertha probably burned shit down too.
Yeah, because he's also gone off. Nice. He's also gone after Sylvia, and she's a bit fiery because he got rejected. He got rejected by her in Invasion of the Champions because he was hooking up with LaToya before.
And she's fiery.
And Kaylee's not necessarily fiery, but she is mean.
And then let's not forget who his ex-girlfriend is, Angela.
Oh God, yeah. Tay, this is the best school out ever. Nelson likes drama. Who knew?
Nelson
I don't know if you know this, but they were on a Dr. Phil episode in America about their relationship. Like, he has a personality type.
Yeah.
He basically wants someone that's going to kill him.
And he clearly likes fanning the flames too.
It's ironic when you think about it after what he said to Kayla on Total Madness, the way that he kind of is going about things at the moment. Just wonder
being banged in a Portaloo or being foul. Oh, being foul. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, I was going to say, I wonder if there is any Portaloos on this season, Nelson. Ooh, we will find out. Now, we're getting to the final round, but there's only 3 people left because one of the agents has been deactivated. Genuinely have just forgotten her name because we've not seen her at all on the show. Lauren, there's been a lot of information, speculation about why she was edited out the show, why she was removed from the show or left the show. Nothing's been confirmed. I don't think it's fair if we speculate. I'd love to say, it was great having her on the show, but she was pretty much Eddie 2.0. But the big question is, because Josh, the goof, is left with no partner whatsoever, that good old TJ is ready to bring a new agent into the game. Who will that agent be? Let's head down to TJ to find out. The champ is back.
Yay! I missed her. Also, she seemed happier and more confident in that entrance. And I think I saw her for the entirety of last season, which just made me really, really happy.
Yeah, it's good to see her smile.
She looks great. We love Amber. Yeah, she looks great. She definitely looked like she was glowing. I don't know if producers were hyping her up in that car the whole way up or what, but I like the entrance. She is a champion in her own right. This is another thing. I think MTV has definitely got to do better at, how they edit these trailers and stuff. I almost want to stop watching the previews because I knew she was coming. I just didn't know when. She's very clearly in the trailer.
But I think they wanted us to know that she was coming, and they wanted us to know that she was coming late, but they wanted us to get excited about when she was coming. I think it was on purpose, because I think obviously she was in the standby cast, and obviously the cast spoilers go out because I saw that she was in the cast. I saw that she was then on standby cast. Then she was back in the cast. She was on the standby cast again. She's back in the cast. So I saw that because I check casting spoilers, and that's the only spoilers I check. So, I think it was just that kind of, and I'm in. I can breathe now. I'm back in the game. But yeah, I think from what she told us on the pod of where she kind of was, the place she was in mentally before Double Agent, to where she was obviously in such a better place before she went to Croatia, because we actually spoke to her just before the challenges flew out on the podcast. Like George said, she was in such a happy place. I think she was so excited to be back with her challenge family and just to be back playing the game and, coming back as the champ. And one thing that we never mentioned last season, she's the first Big Brother player to ever win.
I don't count as a Big Brother player, though. She seems to be lovely. More importantly, do you guys really hope that's her Lamborghini? That's what she thought to spend her winnings on.
They have spent so much money on aesthetic. It's ridiculous. Even the intro, TJ got into a Lamborghini, got out, got on a motorcycle, and then got on a boat. It was for what?
They've got a lot of money on the show.
Yeah, I had that thought, Tay, when I saw TJ rock up, and I was like, hold on a minute. How much say do you have over this stuff? And are you just living out your absolute dream to just MTV as your new expense account, basically?
He's got vehicles though. I saw his Cribs episode.
Yeah.
But do you not think though with MTV? So most of what's on MTV is ridiculousness, which isn't that expensive to put on. You're basically getting free clips, which maybe you spend $250 on each time, and then you're just paying for a studio, but you can record 7 of them a day. Then your Catfish, the budget's gone down on that because they're doing it all via Zoom. So realistically, they got a lot of money now to put into the challenge.
That's CBS check.
Viacom, baby. What it's all about. We're pleased to have Amber back, Tay. I know George and I are extremely biased, so I thought I'd go to you for this question.
Yeah, I liked her. I'm interested to see what she's gonna do now that her abilities are a little bit blown up now. She kind of got to coast a little bit last season. Clearly she has proven herself to be at least a threat in the final. So I wonder when they are going to kind of start to look at her and be like, okay, well, we know who we don't want to run against because we've seen it.
Because she can definitely run. And she can also throw things out of a helicopter. She was absolutely loving that challenge. But when it comes down to it, it's very close between two teams. So let's head down to the mission to find out who won this challenge. So Fessy and Esther are the winners, which George makes them the agency. Your favorite.
Power couple.
Yeah, the agency.
We've discussed this. It's power couple.
So they will decide two individual players that will go down against compromised agents that are chosen a bit later in deliberation. But when we get back to the house, Josh and Amber have a nice discussion because I think they're obviously cool, but there's something going on with her and Fessy and Casey from some things that Fessy and Casey said on Double Agents. But what Josh says is he's got her back. He can bring them all back together. Josh is growing on me. I went into this season with a positive outlook on Josh, and he's growing on me, and not like a fungus, like a fine wine. Tay, you look like he is not growing on you.
He's not. This was a pretty good scene for him. Do you guys count the trailer as spoilers?
Nope, because we've all seen it.
Okay, so you saw there was a brief flash of a trailer of Josh and Fessy arguing. I think that Amber B is going to be the source of that argument.
Well, also in the trailer, there is a fight between Amber B and Esther.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And there's a moment where she says to Fessy in the trailer, no, that's what I call a blindside.
Mm-hmm.
This is interesting. We should have you on for the trailer breakdown episode. That's very interesting.
So yeah,
that's very, very good analysis. I was just hoping that Josh and Fessy would hit each other and they both go home, but I'm starting to like them this season, so who knows what I would what I wanted.
Well, someone else.
I like their partners.
I want to get on to Esther, by the way, but I want to save it to a bit later in the deliberation because I think she's a bit of a star. And Emmy's paranoid that she's going to be voted in, but the only way to calm people down and to stop any form of paranoia, George, it's the moment.
Before you move on, can we discuss Amber and Josh? She's quite lucky to get Josh as a partner, right? Because Tay called it out brilliantly. Everyone knows her threat now. They are going to try and get her out for the final. Josh will protect her by virtue of them being partners, because as we've seen,
protect her in the deliberation vote.
Yeah. The voting down one is trickier, but she'd be very, very vulnerable if she'd come in with a rookie.
Oh, 100%.
Or if she'd even come with a slightly less connected vet. I could see that the fact that she's such a threat at what is 90% of the final. I think I'm quite intrigued to see how they work together as well, actually, because Amber does well when she's got a supportive partner, and Josh is arguably a very supportive partner in everything we've seen.
Yeah, I will give him that. He is a very good partner.
Yeah.
And what I guess he's trying to do is bring that Big Brother club back together. And speaking of clubs, George, you ready? 1, 2, 3. Club night. That was the worst one we've ever done. But the best thing about this club night...
I thought that was closer. Jesus Christ, our things are really out of sync.
The best thing about this club night is it's in an actual club.
Yeah.
Or a bar. So let's start with Fessy flirting with Amanda. Amanda knows exactly what she's doing. She's playing the game. What are your thoughts on Amanda, Tay?
Love Amanda. Love Amanda as not necessarily as a person, but she seems fun. She does not take herself too seriously. She knows who she is in this game, and she's a good political player. There aren't too many things about Amanda that I like that stand out to me that I hate. She was the one that kind of blew up Zach and Jenna, rightfully so. And look, right beside Fessy is where she needs to be. Fessy, like, she has a type too.
Well, Fessy seems a lot less messy this season, but I'll tell you who does seem messy. Oh, Nelly T. So Ashley, she comes clean. She tells Nelly T she likes him. And Nelson comes with the reply that none of us ever want to hear when we tell someone we like them. I thought we were just two friends having fun. Oh, that's the absolute burn. Speaking of burn, who's he flirting with all night in the nightclub? It's only Bertha from Germany. Oh, Nelson.
They both have points, but Nelson is way more wrong in this situation.
Well, what?
They both wrong. He's like, they both have points.
Yeah.
Nelson is right. They are two people who, like, that's what he thought. And Ashley is well within her right to, you know, express her feelings for him, and he's well within his right to not feel those same things. However, like, again, they pointed out in the pre-episode, they are neighbors. Like, this was something that happened before the house. Like, they didn't just do this like 2 days ago and that was the first time. Like, they've clearly been doing this like during COVID. So for you to come into the house and then completely, you know, flirt with somebody else in my face or in her face is a completely different thing, especially the same day that you just barely made it clear that you do not have those feelings for me. Like, let it sit for a while before you throw it in my face. Let me deal with it.
And let's remember, even though it was going on during COVID, they both live in Texas, where my understanding is the rules were very relaxed. So, oh dear, Nelson. She's going to kill him, isn't she, George? His testicle is going to end up like yours, isn't it, George? Oh, you weren't here when we did the intro, Tay.
Context for Tay.
Sorry, Tay. You weren't here when we did the intro. George was wakeboarding or surfing or something, and he hit a big wave, landed on his testicle, and it was very bruised. Like Nelson's are going to be.
Yeah, I don't know why I have to bring my testicle into this. Leave it out.
You brought it up to begin with. You had the balls to do it.
Not anymore.
Like that.
God, I'm a child. I'm nearly 30. Yeah, basically. Can we get to the next bit? That's what I want to talk about from Club Lights.
Okay, we'll pause the Nelson Ashley Berner love fire for now, and let's discuss what really is a big cusp of this scene, if you're thinking about the game as opposed to the drama, which is Fessy tries to make a deal with Kelz, basically saying, look, I'll keep you safe if in future you keep me safe. Kelz doesn't really trust him, and he's kind of like, why do we need to be having this conversation? You're obviously saying it because you're scared of me. Why don't we just ride the wave instead of striking a deal? And then this then leads to Fessy basically, you know, saying to Josh, yeah, Kelz trying to make a deal. We got the numbers to get rid of him. This was such a setup.
It was, but I really enjoyed this scene because it was like the political side of the challenge I love, because it was, you see Fessy's motivation. He is no longer head and shoulders the biggest bloke in the house. Kelz is actually bigger than him, to be fair. And Fessy that explains why Fessy looks like he's sitting down the trailer. But yeah, I enjoyed the fact that Kelz stood his ground. I imagine 90% of rookies would have jumped at that. And this is why this is the bit of the episode where I was like really starting to like Kelz. That didn't age well. Almost as badly as when I said he might be the winner. That was really stupid. But and then we get the whole political side of like, right, I can't make the deal with them. So Fessy and Josh kind of like went together to come up with their plan. Found it interesting that Fessy still let Josh be the figurehead of this. Like, he's the mouthpiece for it, where it's kind of their idea together.
Well, do you not think that by making Josh the mouthpiece, Josh gets the heat if it goes wrong?
That's exactly my point. I think that's good play by Fessy as well. Fessy's learned to take the target off his back, which I think is interesting. Sorry, this is just a bit of the game I absolutely love. Like, what did you two think of this bit?
I thought from a political sense, it was great TV to show like how the bits and pieces worked. It's just really interesting to see Fessy go from like screaming at CT in the club about how, you know, they can go head to head and CT's time is over, to like him literally being scared of the next big guy and like making moves immediately. Politically, I respect it. It was a strong move on his part alone. Not giving Josh any credit for this. On his part alone. However, I don't know where was all that she was talking last season. Like, you know, I really would have loved to see him kind of just be like, I'm a different animal, bro. Like, let's see it. Like, this was the time. And I hope that, you know, later on down the line, maybe not this season, but next season, when if he, you know, starts to boast again, people will bring up this moment. Like, the one guy who could have, you know, physically been a factor for you, you wasted no time.
I think it is true what you say, Tay, is that essentially Kelz is his physical equal in this game. And I think he's come into every season not thinking there was ever going to be a physical equal. And he's shook and he's scared and he's trying to make a deal. But do you know who I would be scared of? I would be scared of Ashley.
Yeah. Thank you for letting me have a brief political break. Now we can get back to the hookup drama. Take it away, Levi.
Because back at the house, Ashley is not happy. She has a confrontation with Bertha, followed by a confrontation with Nelson about flirting with Bertha, which leads to one of my favorite lines of the episode, which is when Amber, who's just got there, goes, "Isn't her name Berna?"
Oh God.
Yeah.
I just love the timing of it, and her face was like, "It's Berna. Surely it's Berna."
I don't know if
she was like, "Not the point. Like,
and then Huey trying to calm her down. "Not now, Huey."
I really like
they
Huey.
stay together just for that dynamic, because I think that is important.
Yeah.
I love Huey.
Yeah, Hugh's outstanding.
And this also leads to the end of the rebrand, because she's no longer Ashley Millionaire Mitchell. She's now Ashley Meltdown Mitchell. And I think actually we've seen
finish the quote. It was brilliant because she has way more meltdowns than Cash.
That was from a friend of the pod, Devin, #1 draft pick Walker. Is this putting a target on Ashley? Is this putting a target on Berna? Is this putting a target on Nelson? Or is it just drama? Because Berna's worried she's got a target now.
This is more hurtful to Berna than anything. I don't think it's putting a target on Ashley. I actually think this is a very calm for her in comparison to, you know, other seasons. And, you know, liquor is a big influence, but without the extra like slurring, she's not wrong.
Well, has Berna done anything wrong? Because as far as she's concerned, Nelson's single. I imagine Nelson spent the whole time going, "I'm single."
I don't think Berna has done anything wrong. I think it would serve Berna to be more careful.
Do you think Bertha has done anything wrong?
Yeah, she's awful. She's the worst character of the season.
Bertha definitely. Bertha doesn't have a leg to stand on.
Well, after that bit of a drama-based interlude, let's get back to the game, because next morning, this is an unbelievable moment after last season.
I love this scene.
Devon and Josh are playing chess. So not only the fact they're getting on, but the fact they're playing chess is just perfect imagery. Josh tells Devon they've got the numbers to get Kelz and Tracy out, because he thinks Kelz is the head of the Rookie Alliance. And then Devon goes to Tori and Anissa. Obviously, Tori's got this thing with Kelz. So he says it's got to be a rookie team. And Anissa kind of breaks the news about Kelz. And Tori kind of says, "I think this is going to be a test of my loyalty." But one of the things Anissa says is, "Look, we've got enough numbers. So if you want to throw your vote wherever you want to throw your vote, it's not going to affect us." What do we think of this little vet ensemble situation?
Can I talk about the chess scene first? I really liked, just because it's such a trope of like a spy movie where you have the main villain and like the good guy just having a closely guarded conversation while playing chess completely unnecessarily. I am convinced Devin knew what he was doing there and getting that as a great shot for the episode. But I also quite liked seeing them both talk strategy together. And now I think it's also Devin might be using Josh as a mouthpiece a little bit as well. But it does show that this vet alliance is just going to carve through rookies.
Rookies had a chance in the first night.
Yeah.
After that,
yeah,
that's it. And I like, unfortunately, it doesn't seem like most of them don't know what's going. Like they don't seem to know what's going on.
I think Garbo said it in this episode where he was like, my dream was always to be on like MTV in America. I think that's a lot of them. Is like, we're on TV in America and that's their thing, not, okay, how do we win this game?
Well, and the ones who could start this rookie revolution are just getting targeted.
Yeah.
It's so easy to find out who's doing it. Like you said earlier, Levi, there's not a safe way to scheme.
No. And, you know, I think this will lead us nicely into nominations. And Josh goes straight for the jugular, straight for Kelz. And he's like, you're making promises with everyone that you can't keep. And Kelz is like, I've not made any deals. And then I love the bit where he's like, CT, have I made a deal with you? No. Have I made a deal with you? No. Have I made a deal with you? I thought that was quite smart. And he basically says to Josh, he's like, you're not known to be smart and tactical. If I'm going to make a deal, it's not going to be with someone like you. Just be honest, you're shook, you're scared of me. I was quite impressed with Kelz like holding his own against Josh here.
I love it when anybody takes Josh to task. And honestly, I think this is why I'm giving Fessy more credit than Josh. Like, as you said, the vets clearly have they have this all figured out. I think Josh absolutely took the wrong angle with this. He could have easily just said, like, you're big, you're intimidating, you're going to give a lot of us a run for our money, including me, voting you down. People still would have voted for him. I don't know why he took the angle of, saying that he's been making deals. It was unnecessary. Another thing that I do not like about Josh is his lack of self-awareness, particularly in his abilities. In like, I wouldn't say in his position because he actually is positioned fairly well. But this is like the third or fourth time that he has continued to say like, I do not lie. It's like, you do lie. You're lying now, and like we have seen you lie. Like, that's the part that really gets me about it. Is like, you didn't have to. It was an unnecessary lie.
Was it a lie though, or was it strategy? Because there's like lying because you're being a horrible person, and then there's lying for a strategy in the game. And you know, the theme of this season is spies, lies, and allies. We're looking at that lies portion.
I'm gonna call it a lie, and it's okay to lie. Just don't continue to advertise this lie by like, or promote it by saying, I don't lie. People know I don't. It's like, but you do. There are people that lie on the show. Amanda lies, Ashley lies, like people lie. But you know they own it.
Yeah.
He's gotta own it.
And it is the point, like last season where we said about self-awareness. Even if he didn't say it as eloquently as you just did, if when Kelz goes, it's because you're shook, my reaction would be, yeah, you're a fucking giant. Of course I don't want to go against you.
Fine.
Yeah, of course
you would have said that, I would have laughed. I would be like, okay, there we go. Somebody's learning.
Do you know where
I've just seen you deadlift 3.5 of me. Yeah, I'm not going against you.
Do you know where I think Kelz went wrong though? Was when Devin stepped in and said, okay, Kelz, we're pointing the finger at you. What's option 2? If it's not you, it's who? And if he had an answer like that and he was going to throw a rookie under the bus, he should have done that. But I think he panicked. He was like, if I do this, then all the rookies are going to put me in. And that was his moment where he could have got rid. He could have thrown someone under the bus and he could have probably helped himself. I still think he would have got voted in, but he just didn't have that quick answer for them.
This is where I think that, this is why I said that I think we might have given him a little too much credit as to, wanting to lead like a revolution, because I expected him to have a name. Like, this could have been a great time for him to just throw out a vet's name. Like, it's really a lose-lose situation either way. You throw out a vet and give a good reason for it, like, even if it's nothing but CT, and, just to say, like, he's 3-time champ. Maybe the rookies might go for it, because at this point, it's a secret vote. You might even get some vets to go for it, because again, 3-time champ. Nobody likes seeing him here. He's in shape. Or you could have said Fessy at this moment, but like, there are plenty of people to throw in.
CT would have been a good shout.
But I don't understand why. I know obviously Cam did last season, but especially this season when he's just won and he's come back looking like prime CT. Why are people not going, we need to try and get rid of him? Like, put CT up against Kelz in a physical. That'll get rid of him.
I think Corey's going to take the first swipe at CT when he can. I think it's going to be rookies go, and then they're going to try and get that. If no one tries to get him out this time, I will lose faith in this game. Sport. Sorry.
Do you know what's interesting?
I said it, Nani.
Sorry, Tay?
What was that?
I'm still very, very upset at Nani. Like, just pick him. Just pick CT. This could have been a completely different outcome.
Do you know what? Don't mention Nani to George. It's only going to set him off with his anti-Nani rants that did all of last season. What's interesting though is we're talking about Kelz this whole time. Let's not forget this is a partner game. He's partnered with Tracy. She's got an opportunity to talk. Exactly. I was going to say she's got an opportunity to talk. She says something. I don't remember what it is. But one female rookie who I'm like, this girl is amazing. Esther. That part where she's like, do you know what, guys? We're here to win. We need to go big or go home. Think about who you don't want to see in a final. What's interesting is from the Big Brother Nigeria girls, Esther and Tasha, my understanding is Tasha is like this big celebrity over in Nigeria. Esther's the one that's coming across with the screen presence and coming across understanding the game and coming across really well. Tasha's been quite quiet. I really like Esther. I think I put it out on our Instagram. I think she's fantastic.
Esther got into uni at 14. Like, she's awesome. Yeah.
Wow.
So I don't know if you guys know this. I of course am not Nigerian, but American. But I do have a bunch of Nigerian friends. Not to sound like I have like all these Black friends, but like I do have a bunch of Nigerian friends who live in America, but like spend a lot of time in Nigeria. Like a few of them actually grew up a little bit in Nigeria and then go to America for school. It is not uncommon for a bunch of them to finish university at very young ages. One of them, I think it's Tasha, but I might be wrong, but one of them is actually a lawyer. And if the other one is not something of that magnitude, like is not a lawyer, they're probably something of that magnitude. It is not uncommon in their culture to be like, put a high focus in education, to be extremely smart, extremely gifted, and to have like multiple talents. So I was not surprised at all in Esther, or like Tasha hasn't talked much, but I think that when she does,
she's taking things in, isn't she?
Yeah. I was not surprised by Esther at all. Yeah, pretty much sounds on the money for me. So.
I really like her. I think she's one for us to watch out for. So George doesn't know about this, but thanks to the wonderful Devon Simone, it's time for us to see who voted for who. So let's have a look.
Oh,
Can you see?
Cool.
So let's look at the breakdown. I think if we just don't look at the Tracy and Kelz thing first, voting for Anissa and Logan, Jeremiah, Tommy, and CT.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Voting for Emmy and Ed, Tori, Tracy, and Priscilla. Voting for Ashley and Huey was Ed and Emmy. Amber and Josh was voted for by Kelz. Well, that's understandable because Kelz and Josh have just had this set to. Look at the next one. Voting for Casey and Emmanuel. Emmanuel. I forgot that we do an audio version of this podcast as well. Emmanuel voted for Casey and Emmanuel. And then Tasha voted for Michelle and Devon. So voting for Tracy and Kelz, we've got Amanda, Amber, Anissa, Ashley, Berna, Bettina, Big T, Corey L, Corey, Devon, Gabbo, Huey, Josh, Casey, Kyle, Logan, Michelle, Nanny, and Nelson. Any of those a bit weird for you? I think Emmanuel voting for himself.
I did get Tasha throwing one at Michelle and Devon.
Burn vote. Didn't want to vote for Kelz because we see a bit later that her and him talk a bit, like, so they might be friends.
Yeah, like Tasha and Esther and Kelz were all in that limo together in the pre-episode. So that makes sense. And then I guess the interesting thing is CT voting for Anissa and Logan because that goes against the Vet Alliance.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're gonna throw away a burn vote, like why not throw it away on another rookie? Unless unless CT absolutely does not want to run with Anissa.
Why has Emmanuel voted for himself? Am I the only one that's a bit like confused?
So I have a theory on this.
Yeah.
I think it's really, really easy to mess up on the iPad and accidentally vote for something. Yeah, and generally, I'm waiting for the moment where if they did show the votes in the program, where someone goes, "Mate, I'm really sorry, I didn't mean to backstab you. My finger slipped." I've stolen that from someone on the Reddit, but I found it hilarious. I thought it was a really good point.
The other thing, though, is when they vote, the positions that are in, all the people standing behind can just see everyone's votes on their side.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's a new thing I decided to bring in this week after our chat with the wonderful Devon Simone. These votes got shown on Aftermath, so I thought I'd bring them in to Redditors React. But
you're getting a bit too professional, Levi. I don't like the new production value. I'm going to spend longer talking about my testicles to lower the tone.
Wait till you see how that looks when we put it into the video. It's going to look very smart. But post nominations, speaking of very smart, we've got three very smart rookies: Kelz, Tasha, and Priscilla. Kelz basically says, if these people want to see what I can do, I'm coming for their heads. And then we have an interesting conversation between two less smart people, in Josh and Fessy, talk about who they're going to throw in. So Fessy's discussion is for the guys, Emmanuel, Ed, or Corey L. And for the girls, Josh suggests Berna, because Bertha is probably immune this week. But Fessy, without saying it, suggests Amber B. Do we think this was just a highly edited thing?
I'm telling you.
What are you telling us? Say it out loud. Say it out loud.
They're going to fight over her. They're going to fight about her. And honestly, like, and this is parts, like, again, I'm trying to give Fessy the benefit of the doubt, but this is the part of him that, like, you know, I don't care for. Casey can be grouped in this too a little bit. Like, you know, like they threw her under the bus last season. And instead of just being like he took this stance with Nelson, but he absolutely won't do this with Amber. Just being like, hey, like, you know what? I'm sorry. I should not have, you know, doubted you, nor should I have, you know, like, talked trash about you. And, you know, we were in an alliance and it was wrong. Instead, he's just like, want her gone because, you know, she doesn't care for me too much. When, truth be told, Amber probably isn't gunning for you. She just has probably been put on notice. She won. You didn't.
Do you think that's what it is, though? Jealousy? Like, he wanted to be the first Big Brother winner?
I don't know if it's jealousy, but whatever it is, he needs to sit with it. And, like, because if he got this together, she would be a great asset to have. Like, she's clearly proven that she would not be the worst person in the world to run a final with. And she's already in Big Brother. Why not just, like, go bury the hatchet? Yeah, you're already trying to prove something. Like, you're already trying to build trust. Apologize.
Yeah. Also, it's quite an easy one. It's like, if Fessy had Amber, he could have legitimately won. Like, if he hadn't made that decision. I also think Josh is overjoyed he's got Amber. He's like, this is someone I could win a final with.
But what he needs to realise is, what are the chances of him keeping Amber for the whole show?
Yeah.
But
or him staying.
Well, Fessy and Esther have got some decisions to make. So with that, the agents head to the lair. So let's head down there to TJ and find out who the agency have chosen to face the compromised agents, Kelz and Tracy. So, George, your favorite people, the agency, what do you think of their choice? They've chosen Emmy and new guy Ed. Fessy stuck to the Vet Alliance. He was umming and ahhing for the drama, but he threw in two rookies.
Yeah, he was never going to fire a shot at this point. And probably it's just strengthened his game. Loads of people didn't really trust him after the last one. So yeah, it makes sense that he didn't pick anyone. I would have loved it if he got a bit rogue and chucked someone down, but not in this elimination.
It wasn't the time. It wasn't the time. Emmy's very emotional though when she's talking to Mr. TJ. Whereas
Mr. TJ.
Do you know, I thought it was all fake, the Mr. TJ thing in the beginning, but when she calls him Mr. TJ while she's crying, I was like, yeah, she just thinks his name is Mr. TJ. But Ed seems super pumped. So, Tay, what do you think about these contrasting reactions?
Oh, sorry.
Honestly, again, this is why I'm like, listen, you got to keep the same energy. Like, you were very aggressive in the first episode. Now you're crying at the drop of a hat. Like, if you're a crier, you're a crier. Stick to that. If you are, if you're the rat and the snake, like, stick to that. Like, it's gonna get tiring with people, like, tending to your tears every time. Like, you threw Michaela under the bus for literally nothing. And here goes Esther, who had no reason to look out for you. Also just voted you in. Why are you crying? Like, you can tell it was awkward for everyone involved. And, again, I don't care for her.
But on the flip side, Ed was super happy. The contrast, and George, same wavelength. I knew what you were going to say before.
I loved Ed's reaction of, well, you're going to chuck the two biggest specimens in the house down against each other. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. He took it on the chin.
Yeah. Ed is just unbelievably likable.
Yeah, I really like him. Which is weird because I thought he was a massive cock when he came in and didn't have any shorts on.
Yeah, well,
I thought he was my words, by the way. Just want to make that clear. So what we have is essentially we're in a position where we're about to lose at least one of the kind of, big rookies, the ones that are actually adding something to the show, and or we could lose Tracy. So we've got Kelz and Tracy versus Emmy and Ed in elimination. So let's find out from TJ what that elimination is. So flipping agents, you're able to pick who's going to be on the grate that's being flipped. Both teams pick the girls. They basically dangle a magnetic cable rope down to try and pick up some cubes that only have magnets on two sides of them. They have to pull it up. Once they pull it up and they've got hold of it, the partners flip the grate over, grab it off them. Once they've got all 12, they can solve a puzzle. What do we think of this elimination? It's a bit, I don't know.
Thought it was interesting. It's different.
It certainly was different.
It showed teamwork, ability to be calm under pressure. I didn't hate it, but I also didn't love it. I would have rather seen something a little bit more head to head.
I think the problem was they spent all the budget on the mission for this episode. So they had very little left for the elimination. I mean, certainly on that block, Ireland did not look like Ireland. George, what were your thoughts on this as an elimination?
I've got very similar opinions to Daily. I didn't mind it. It like Tay said, showed teamwork, which I'm always quite a fan of, seeing how people act as a pair. Again, it's not going to be one that I overly remember. I was thinking, what would it be like if one of them had gone with, one of the guys had gone with, I'll be the one flipped. I just had poor images of oh my God, I've forgotten
her name's Tracy. Her name is Tracy.
Tracy trying to flip Kelz, and it'd be like, that's one and done. And just poor Kelz be hanging there. know if they, yeah, it wasn't like an all-timer, was it?
No.
But
it was something.
Went to a bit of a nail biter at the end. The fact magnets were only on two sides I liked, because it added that bit of tension at the end where they couldn't get the last one. The girls were having to almost lasso the block, which I thought was quite a nice touch, because that made it a lot trickier. It tests quite a lot of skills, to be fair. Thinking under pressure, dexterity, hand-eye coordination,
magnetism.
She just kept grabbing the magnet, like, oh my god.
I know. That's the problem. You need to grab the block, because if you grab the magnet, then you're putting more force on the magnet, which is causing less force on the actual magnetism, which is causing the block to fall. Basic science, Tracy. Come on.
And that ends the Redditors React weekly physics section. Tune in next week for I don't know.
So I think my favorite moment of this elimination was obviously the people up on the stage were pulling for Ed, and Devin goes, "Ed, it's a map of the world," and Ed just goes, "I know that," and Devin's just like, "Yes." This episode has flipped me at 180 on Ed. I love him.
Yeah, I do too. I like him.
Much like all the challenges for the two girls during the elimination.
There he is. Yeah. Maths, degrees. So ultimately, Ed and Emmy win. What are you pleased, Tay? I know you're not the biggest fan of Emmy, but you do like Ed.
I'm not displeased. I do like Ed, but I like Kelz a little bit more. I thought that the puzzle didn't seem too hard, but funny enough, we kind of talk about like language barriers and stuff like that, and how it could be like a disadvantage for some of the internationals. I think it's very interesting how they throw in like little things, whether it's intentional or not, that could be a disadvantage for Americans. As soon as I saw that it was the world map, I was like, Ivy League education aside, Ed might struggle. Just because Americans seem to have a very westernized view of the world. I personally might not be able to put together a world map off like in a few seconds. So I just thought that would have evened the playing field a little bit more, but I'm not completely upset. I'll be a little bit happier when Emmy goes home, but I think it was a decent showing for everybody except Tracy.
George, your thoughts?
Do you think Tracy cost Kelz it? How many did she drop? 3? 4?
She definitely cost him.
She was edited to have dropped 3, yes.
Yeah, that's fair actually. I must stop being such a slave to the edit. But yeah, it's poor Kelz. I'm really going to miss Kelz. I liked him.
Well, the thing is, I think we've lost someone that could have been a really, really big part of this season, and I will miss Tracy. Because I think the thing is, Kelz. I think Kelz came in. He knew the game that he was getting into. He'd obviously done his homework whilst he was having a little 10-day break, and they were scared of him. And I do hope that. I know not that many people that go out in the first couple of episodes return, as of late, but I really hope we get to see him back, because I think he's a very good addition to the show, kind of mentally and physically.
I think Michaela and Kelz are both coming back.
Yeah. Like Michaela she was tied, like a 4-way tie for second with the most confessionals in the first episode. But even in the pre-episode, like her very first introduction clip was hilarious. I think she has a lot of fans. I'm pretty sure MTV and Viacom know what they have with her. Kelz on one end, 2 episodes in, he had his showmance. He's posed as a physical threat to another potential like standout, which is like Fessy and CT. And he's smart, and people want to see him. Like, I will give MTV this. Like they make really good adjustments, whether it's intentional or not, but they make really good adjustments like in between seasons. Like last season, a lot of complaining about it being boring and no hookups, and we got 2 episodes of hookups.
I think the one thing that worries me that Kelz might not be back is I read a lot into kind of MTV Digital and who's on the Aftermath and things like that, and he wasn't on the Aftermath last night. They had Big T. because they always have two people from abroad over on the Zoom, and it was Big T and Esther. And I just felt like the fact he wasn't on it, maybe, I don't know, is a little hint that he might not be back, but fingers crossed. But whilst MTV are going to have that big decision to make next season, Emmy and Ed now have a big decision. Are they going to stick together? Are they going to infiltrate a current pair of agents and make two brand new teams? Well, let's head down to the lair to find out. So what do we think of Ed's decision to pick Tori? That's the second week in a row that Tori's been picked. Does anyone else just think Tori's a little bit overrated?
I was going to say, can you copy and paste my reaction from last week's episode into here? Because it still applies. Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, yeah. But Casey aside, who do you think would be the better choice?
Well, the champions just returned.
Does and he also know that? Well, she said
yeah, but also remember as well, Ed and Amber were the two standbys, so they'd have been in the standby hotel together for a while, maybe at least 5 days. So they would have known each other. They would have chatted. He'd have known she was a champ. You at least check who won the last season if you're going on the show. Ivy League.
I thought that would put a target on his back, though.
Yeah, I think same reasons last time, right? They're picking these partners for safety. I don't think Amber makes you as safe as Tori makes you safe.
Because Tori's got that social game.
Well, no, Tori's just got stronger social links. She's done more seasons. She knows them better. Amber, I think, has a target on her this season. I don't think Tori does, because if anything, her stock has dipped. But fundamentally, she's still a good runner. She still knows how to handle herself in a physical elimination. I've never recognized her embarrassing herself in a daily challenge. I think she'll work well with Ed, because Ed seems really well-rounded. The one thing missing from his game was his connections to the other vets and potentially even the other rookies, because he was an alternate. So I think really, really good decision from Ed to strengthen his standing in the game.
I think they have the same energy as well, those two, Tori and Ed.
Yeah. Silly.
And Amber's this is her second year. Like, she's a veteran by default, but this is her second year. It doesn't really seem like she made any real connections in the previous season, except for possibly the Big Brother Alliance, and that's a bust right now. And she's new, and she is the previous champ. There are a bunch of things that are working against her to where it would not benefit him.
Well,
because they could throw in an Ed for the strength of he's a rookie, he's new.
Well, Ed's made his decision, and now it's time for Emmy's decision. And she does not hesitate to pick the number one draft pick, Devin Walker. Let's go. TJ's reaction was the greatest thing. He just looked at the situation and just went, oh. I love this. Devin is the most valuable player thing.
Yeah. I think she just copied what has happened before. I don't really see Emmy making. Ed said we're going to make positions to strengthen ourselves in the game. There are other options to strengthen yourself in the game other than Devin. I think she just followed the crowd. I'm a bit annoyed because I wanted to see Michelle and Devin together for a bit longer. I thought they were really interesting because they're both smart and they're both very good at strategy when one hasn't had 700 beers. Michelle just loves smashing hands.
Loves the alcohol. She loves it so much.
But pretty good in that challenge too.
Sorry.
Yeah, they did really well in the challenge as a pair. What do you think, Tay? Was Emmy just kind of going with the flow of what happened last week?
Yeah, I don't get her game plan. Maybe if I understood her gameplay a little bit more, but everything that I've seen from Emmy just shows me that she's erratic and just kind of, I'm not gonna say loud and wrong, but loud and not knowing what's going on.
Out of interest, has anyone listened to her any of her rap music?
You said you were going to last week, have you?
Yeah, but then I didn't. I should have done it. I should have listened to it while I was climbing the rock at Gibraltar. I'm going to take that as a no. I will listen to it this week. I'm very intrigued. I'd love it if she did a little shout out to Mr. TJ at the top of one of her tracks. But you know, Mr. TJ has a job to do, and that is by proxy putting one more pair together. So Tori and Devon's old partners, Corey Lay and Michelle, are now paired together. So it's a rookie team, which equals the target, but it's a rookie team with an elimination win. Does that make the target a bit smaller?
No. It's still going to be rookies who go down. It's just going to be, there's one more rookie team as well left, right?
Yes.
Ooh, no. Did we lose 2 of them? No, we didn't. We've got one rookie team.
Yeah, I think they're the only rookie team left.
Because it was 3, wasn't it? And it was Ed and Emmy. It was Kelz and this. So
no, Jeremiah and Tasha.
Oh yeah, with the cool handshake.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, true.
I think with them, it depends on how they decide to play the game. Because like we saw last season, the boys and the girls play a completely different game when it comes to their strategy. The girls play a more scared game, whereas the boys kind of, sometimes they pump up their chest a little bit, and they both play a scared game, but it's how they go about it. So I think the girls going, Michelle has won. She's a threat. Let's keep throwing her in. I could see the boys being like, Corey's a big guy. Like, maybe let's not mess with him. I think it just depends on, what angle they decide to take. But right now, they're both like dead in the water.
Okay, so
I can see Corey and Michelle winning though.
Corey Lay and Michelle.
Yeah. So I know they have to win the mission next week to be safe. I don't think that's outside the realms of possibility. And then that's when things get interesting. If a rookie wins power couple, Levi, then
if they're in the agency.
then that would make this game very, very interesting.
Well, speaking of that, they're now a rookie couple. Is that a trade up or a trade down? Corey Lay from Tori to Michelle, trade up or trade down? Tay?
Politically down.
Yeah.
Potentially trade up.
Interesting. George, Michelle going from the number 1 draft pick, Devon Walker, to Corey Lay, trade up or trade down?
Well, if you go from a number 1 draft pick anywhere, you've fallen down. So I'm sorry, it's a trade down. Plus, I want to be partners with Devon. Have so much fun.
I know what your answer is going to be here, Tay, because you're not the biggest fan of Emmy. Ed's traded up to Tori.
Nuance.
Did not expect this.
I think Emmy can be a strong competitor.
But
so he might have traded down.
Oh.
I can separate my personal feelings from ability. We haven't seen much of her, but she has some potential.
And has this girl with potential Emmy, George, traded up or down, going from Ed to number 1 draft pick, Devon Walker? Let's go.
Oh, obviously up. Traded massively up. She's got the number 1 draft pick.
Yeah, he's number 1 draft pick. Pick before Carl, pick before Fessy, pick before Corey, pick before CT. Well, that ends the. I'm pretty sure they used the same confessional clip that they used last week for that bit, because I'm sure he said the exact same thing. But that does end the episode. So, what do we think of this episode, Tay?
I'm gonna give it a thumbs up. I liked it. Good second start. It's got me wanting more. I always like the beginning of the show, and the end, sometimes is up in the air. The way that I kind of determine whether or not a season is good is what happens in the middle.
Really good point.
So you're happy so far, and you're waiting to see what happens next. George?
Again, really strong. Probably not. So I think I agree with Alan. The opening was like a 97 out of 100. I think this was still good because so much happened. A lot of the strategic gameplay stuff I love. 83.
83, just picked a random number out of thin air, let's be honest there.
Exactly.
Who impressed you in this episode? Who's your star of the episode? For me, I'm going to say Esther. George?
I have to agree with that. She was class. A couple of dark horse shout outs though. Fessy, to be fair.
You do love Fessy, to be fair.
Adore him. And low key, Emmanuel again. Like,
what, for voting for himself
and dancing, and also is actually really. So there's a clip of him in a trailer which is he's coming.
Wait. We'll talk about that next week. Oh, the trailer. Sorry, I thought you meant the next episode trailer.
No, I don't watch those. The actual trailer is he's coming the top 3 every time. I am convinced that's about Emmanuel, and in 1 or 2 episodes he's getting thrown in because I think he's actually a really, really big threat. Oh, George. And Ed, because I love the big goofy dog.
And then Tay, who's your star of the episode?
I'm definitely gonna say Esther, but there are a few agents that you need to watch out for that are probably their time is coming.
Time is coming to shine, or time is coming to be eliminated and deactivated?
To shine. I think Jeremiah is gonna surprise people. Tasha might surprise people. Michelle doesn't seem like. I'm going to say Michelle will surprise people because I'm not going to give her credit for her elimination win last week. I think Corey.
Because Corey did all the work.
Job, but Corey beat Michaela. But I think she's pretty good. And again, I'll give it to Emmy. I think Emmy could be strong and burn in between the two.
Oh, so, and what about Bertha before we go?
Listen, Bertha's already proven to be a threat. She's got Ashley shook.
On that note,
best politicker in show history.
Good old Bertha. Well, on that note, Tay, thank you so much for joining us. Where can people continue the conversation with you over on Reddit, socials, etc.?
Oh, like you can talk to me on Reddit, which is Hey It's TA. Also, I talk about the challenge on Twitter as well, which is Hey_It's TA. So. Yeah, it was great talking to you guys. Always a pleasure to talk about the challenge.
Thanks so much for coming on. It's nice to have someone who's not biased and actually can separate their true feelings to what they think of the game. Don't have that very often on here.
And what I will say is I'd like to apologise to all the listeners/viewers because you will not have completed your card today because, and I'm not going to say the name because I want to have got through the whole podcast without doing it, but there's a certain dog that we have not mentioned for the whole podcast. But speaking of dogs, is Prada awake yet to say goodbye?
Okay, 1 second. I'll go get it.
Yay!
But whilst we're doing that, I can see George is like, how have we not mentioned that guy? But we're not going to mention him, George. George, it's always lovely chatting to you. Always a pleasure, never a chore, I say. I'm really looking forward to listening to some Moby this week. Oh, and there is Prada.
Hey, Prada.
Hi, Prada. So if you want to continue the conversation, you can do that over on Reddit. Don't forget to say hello to Prada over on Reddit as well. And you can also chat to us over on our socials. That's at Challenge React. You can listen to us over on Spotify, Apple Music, go to Anchor. That'll tell you all the places you can listen to us. Or this season, you can watch us on YouTube. George, looking forward to seeing you next week. Tay, thank you so much for joining us. And hopefully we'll see you soon. And we are going to leave you all with the trailer for next week's episode of The Challenge, Spies, Lies, and Allies.